I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? It's your boy Jay. That's me. We're going to get into TNA Impact. This was a pretty fun episode, and this was also the final episode of TNA Impact on Access TV. TNA stayed on Access for 6 years. And really, within the last year and a half, TNA has kind of come into their own, especially with the help of NXT, helping them out with their NXT TNA partnership. That's helped TNA out tremendously. And this was just a fun way to end the Access era. And I'm very excited for the AMC premiere era. And hopefully TNA really goes above and beyond on that episode, but not just the premiere, but also they go above and beyond come Genesis. So this was a really good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it, especially the segment involving Elijah and Mustafa Ali. That was great. That was good shit there. I love that. Love that. So we're going to get into TNA Impact from January the 8th, 2026. So we kicked the show off with the Hardyz. They're upset with the Righteous. Matt Hardy said that the Righteous crossed the line and there's no coming back from that blasphemy. And then Jeff Hardy wanted the Righteous to step up and face them like real men. So the Righteous, they show up. Vincent and Dutch. Vincent tried to apologize. Matt Hardy just wants to delete the Righteous and demands a match right here in El Paso, Texas. So the crowd, they're behind the Hardys. Vincent is not ready to do the match tonight and would like some time to prepare. And then he suggests Genesis, and then the Hardys agreed. So it's going to be the Hardys and the Righteous at Genesis for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. This is fine. This makes perfect sense. Clearly, the Hardys are going to win this. I like Vincent and Dutch. They do say a lot of "we are many" in their promos, so maybe they could add a couple of guys come Genesis. So maybe Matt Taven might show up at Genesis. Maybe. Because he's no longer working for AEW. I think his contract just lapsed not too long ago. And so he could probably be coming back to TNA. I hope not, but it'll probably happen. And then if his contract has lapsed, I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Bennett comes along with him as well. But that's fine. Good stuff. This is an okay feud. I do like the mind games that the Righteous are playing with the Hardys, so good stuff there. I really like that. Moving on from that, this leads us into a backstage interview. Steve Maclin was interviewed by Gia Miller. He says it's time for him to get his title back tonight. Eric Young, his sorry ass, shows up and told Steve Maclin to complete his mission or else the cleanse is coming. I don't know what Eric Young means by that, but I am tired of Eric Young. I really am. I'm tired of this crazy cult leader Eric Young that's been gone for like 2 or 3 years now. And it's time for TNA to move the hell on from Eric Young. It really is. I don't know where they're going with this storyline at all. I don't know. It's just dumb. I feel that Eric Young brings down the TNA product, and it really is just time for them to make him a producer and just use him behind the scenes. Enough of him, because this shit is boring to me. It's very, very boring to me, and I don't like it. Moving on, this leads us into the first match of the night. Dani Luna defeats Harley Hudson. She destroyed her. She ended up hitting the moon landing. Post-match, Myla Gray, her tag team partner, came out to check on her. She got her ass beat by Dani Luna. She hit her with the Luna landing. Then she assaulted the referee. Yayling Lee, aka Xia Li, came out, but she got her ass beat and she got put to sleep. And then Xia Brookside came out, and she got her ass beat as well. So I'm loving what they're doing with Dani Luna. She's a badass. They need to put the title on her come Genesis. So apparently it's going to be Dani Luna and Xia Li at Genesis for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. That is fine there. Good shit there. You got to put the title on Dani Luna. She's awesome. Maybe you could feud her with Tessa Blanchard. Maybe turn Tessa Blanchard face down the line at some point. So that would be good. But Xia Li, she wasn't going to be champion too long anyway. I think that was just to put something on, give her a run with the title. Not a long one, because I think she won it at NXT Gold Rush. I think that was week 2. That was back in November. No, that was back in this. Yeah, that was back in November. So basically about almost 2 months ago. So, yeah. Good stuff there. Moving on. This leads us into a backstage segment involving Ryan Nemeth, who thinks that Mara Sade is into him, and he's trying to flirt with her and everything else. So basically, she super kicks him. So whatever. This is okay, I guess. I don't know why this is happening. This is kind of weird, if we're being honest. It really, truly is. As long as we don't get a match between the two of them, like a one-on-one match. I know that for the Christmas edition, which I didn't review, it was a 10-person tag, which Mara Sade, her team won. And her and Ryan were captains. So I think her team won that one. I'm not really sure. I can't remember. But this is fine, I guess. Just as long as they don't keep, as long as this doesn't lead to a match between the two, I'm fine. We don't need any one-on-one intergender matches from TNA anymore. Enough. Moving on. This leads us into a backstage segment involving the Order 4. They can't find Agent Zero. So Agent Zero gets he's slumped over with a guitar broken over his head. So Elias basically showed up with a satisfied smirk. So that's pretty cool there. I do like that. Moving on. What I also do like is the Elegance brand. They kick ass. I love this faction. So they found their Mr. Elegance. It was just some random production crew guy who's worked for the company for 8 years, who's produced a lot of their promo segments. The Elegance brand left to take him to the gym and give him a makeover. So after that, somebody who was dressed in a green kimono emerged under a table, and then he said, "I must protect the Elegance brand." I don't know who this Asian guy is. I really don't know who that could be. But maybe he'll be revealed either next week on the AMC premiere or at best at Genesis. But this is a funny little gag. I did LOL. This is some good shit here. This is some good shit. I love when TNA does really good comedy at times. It does get me laughing a little bit and get me rolling. So I do like that. Moving on. This leads us into the Order 4 promo by Mustafa Ali. So Mustafa Ali is here to propose a way to eliminate the distractions that Elijah brings to TNA. He says no more concerts, no more guitars, no more cowboy hats. He polled the crowd for votes, and then he gets boos for that. The crowd further chanted no to make it clear. And then Mustafa Ali called the crowd idiots, and Elijah showed up on horseback with his guitar to chase off the Order 4. Then the Order 4 ran out of the arena into the parking lot and ran right into Elijah and his horse. And they did a slow motion scene, which is kind of funny. So it was like Elijah in slow motion was chasing them. And they had some really cool background music playing in the parking lot. So this was pretty funny. I do like this. Apparently, this is going to lead to a match between Mustafa Ali and Elijah, which I'm down for. Two WWE guys going at it. I'm fine with that. So there is that. Moving on, Stax retains the TNA International Championship via DQ. He defeats Steve Macklin because for most of that match, the NXT Outlaws kept getting involved, and then I think it was I think it was Tyreek who got involved, and the referee saw him. He interjected the entire faction, and Ariana, she got involved. She got into the ring. She started to scratch the eyes of Steve Macklin, and then that's when the referee called for the bell. And then Steve Macklin got beat up again by the NXT Outlaws, and then he ate a nasty knee strike from Stax. So I do like this. Again, I could see them doing something with Stax and Santino. Maybe a one-on-one match. Again, I would do a stipulation where if Santino Marella loses, he is no longer the director of authority with TNA. I think that would be cool. So I don't know when they would do that. Maybe at Genesis. I'm hoping. We've got some time, but not much, because next week is Genesis. So I don't know. But this is okay. I do like this. It's just I wish that Stax didn't have all these undercard NXT guys with him. That's just me. I mean, I also like Lexis King, but it is what it is. Moving on. So then we go over the TNA injury report. So Dani Luna beat up all the knockouts that she beat up earlier on. They're being evaluated. Everyone for the main event has been cleared. Santino Marella is not physically injured, but he's psychologically damaged. And then Mike Santana, his arm is okay, but his arm's a little bit banged up, but he's cleared for his TNA World title match next week. And then Steve Macklin's getting evaluated. So, okay, that's fine there. Moving on, we get a digital exclusive involving the First Class Penthouse featuring AJ Francis. So AJ Francis just runs down Rich Swann for being such a poor champion. He couldn't even get 10 people in the building. That was during the pandemic. So Rich Swann attacks AJ Francis from behind with a baseball bat, and then he hits a crossbody through a table to take out AJ Francis. And then Rich Swann also destroyed AJ Francis' vinyl record. So that's pretty funny there, I guess. I don't care about this. Apparently, they're going to have a match at Genesis. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully, this shit is on the pre-show, because this should not be on the match card, on the main card at all, period. I don't want it at all on the main card. So hopefully, this is some pre-show shit. Moving on, they continue on to talk about Genesis and next week's AMC premiere. And then they're going over the cards for next week's show, which is pretty cool. So next week, we've got 3 matches announced. That's going to be the Order 4 versus Elijah and the Hardyz in a 6-man tag match. The Inspiration versus the Elegance Friends for the TNA Knockouts tag team titles. And then the main event, Frankie Kazarian versus Mike Santana for the TNA World title. And I also think that it's going to be Myron Reed and Leon Slater for the X Division Championship as well. I don't know why that wasn't on this, announced on this card right here, but that is going to be the scheduled match. Main event of the evening, match-wise, Cedric Alexander, the Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, and Leon Slater, they defeated the System. JDC, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and Moose. I didn't watch the match at all. I just don't care about the System. So apparently Moose was going to go for a spear towards the end of the match, and then Cedric Alexander rolled him up real quick, and that's how he won. So I do like that. That gives Cedric a little bit of momentum for the triple threat match between him and Leon Slater and Moose at Genesis, so that's fine there. Moving on from that, this leads us into a vignette for Lei Ying Lee, so that's fine. And then closing segment of the evening, it was the contract signing involving Frankie Kazarian and Mike Santana. So, Santino Marella, he explains the rules. He says that if Frankie Kazarian wins the title, then Mike Santana has to go to the back of the line. I do like that. But he also says if Mike Santana wins the title, then he'll be defending the title at Genesis. So, I do like that. So, Frankie Kazarian gets on the mic, and he has a confession to make. He said he was addicted to being TNA World Champion. Mike Santana talked about how he and Frankie Kazarian were out of place that tried to drain their love for pro wrestling, a.k.a. AEW, which is true. I know people like AEW. AEW is okay in small spurts, but for the most part, they don't really care about certain guys. And again, I'm glad that Mike Santana left AEW. Mike Santana was going to just be a tag team guy, and that was it. No, Mike Santana should have always been a singles act. Mike Santana is great. He's fantastic. Frankie Kazarian, he's okay, but I don't want him to be world champion, but we all know he's not going to have a long run, but that was great. That was a good line by Mike Santana. But they left that place to come to TNA and find their passion for pro wrestling. Again, Mike Santana promised that he will walk out of Dallas next week a 2-time TNA World Champion. And then Mike Santana said that if he can't win the title next week, then maybe he doesn't belong in TNA. So I do like that too. So maybe, let's say that does happen and Mike Santana doesn't win. Do we see him show up on NXT? Maybe, yeah. Do we see him show up on NXT? Because I got a feeling that him and Leon Slater are going to be in NXT in due time. Now, I don't think that NXT is going to outright grab Leon Slater just yet. I think they'll probably end up getting Leon Slater by the summer. So anywhere between May and August of this year, maybe. But only time will tell, but I did like what Mike Santana said right there, so I do like that. So Mike Santana was going to go to sign the contract. Nic Nemeth shows up. He made his return. He also had the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Trophy with him. So Nic Nemeth says that he knows Mike Santana and Frankie Kazarian are going to beat the hell out of each other and beat each other to death next week. And once the match is over, Nic Nemeth will cash in his guaranteed title shot and lead the AMC Premier as champion. And then Nic Nemeth encourages both guys to sign the contract, which they do. And then Mike Santana and Frankie Kazarian, they stood face to face with Santino Marella in between them. And then Nic Nemeth, he loomed in the background, holding up his trophy, and then that was the end of the show. So that's fine there. I do like this. So I'm guessing that Mike Santana is going to end up winning this. He has to. And then you can just do Mike Santana and Nic Nemeth at Genesis. Because you know you're going to have the world title on the Genesis card. That wouldn't make any sense to not have the world title on the Genesis card, if we're being honest. So this is a pretty good show. I did like it. I'm very excited for next week. I also hope that next week we get a bunch of surprises, not just for the AMC premiere, but also for Genesis. Again, it's time for TNA to have a stronger roster. They need more guys and girls on that roster. Less Eric Young, less the system, less, Frankie Kazarian. It's time to move those guys out the way. But all in all, this was an okay show. I very much enjoyed it. But what did you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.